Welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Starlette, that's Execute, and that's Algared down there.
Not good with the fingers yet. Got to get professional. So Starlette's one of our members of our community, and we invited her to join us today for this episode. She was actually going to fill in for Algared, but then Algared made it, so
That's right.
we asked her to stay.
In case I couldn't get up early enough, but because it's ungodly hours of the morning for us.
Yes. All right, so I'll kick it straight over to the browser. So obviously we're talking about Tumbril, Crusader, and we're talking about, and I know it's got MISC. That was the last one. I was just stuck there for a minute. All right, so obviously there's a big thing today on the Hercules Starlifter and the Nova Tank both going in on the patch. So I think we'll kind of start there. So we're going to pivot a bit and go straight to the Hercules. What do you guys want to talk about this one specifically?
I love the ship. The ship is so cool.
Mm.
There's a lot of talk around that it's quite expensive, perhaps not the best value for money. However, it's a really gorgeous ship.
Don't mind me. I'm saving backgrounds for later use. Yeah.
And really effective. So primarily a ship for moving vehicles. The C2 also has enormous amounts of cargo space. So it kind of challenges the Caterpillar quite nicely.
I've had a lot of fun flying it in the PU, and it's a loan for my banner merchantman, so I've been enjoying that as well.
And it is a very nice ship. And that's always the problem I find with a lot of ships. I like a lot all the ships, but some of them just you struggle with that value for cash now, or do I buy it in game? But how can you not like that aesthetic?
Yeah.
It really is a nice looking ship.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best looking cargo ships we've got in game.
All right, the Nova Tank. I think this is actually going to give some really cool, fun little gameplay before we get Theatres of War. I'm enjoying the 3 people in the vehicle working together combo. You know, I'm all about the multiplayer gameplay. I do talk about that a bit with you guys when we're not on recording. I thought the Hammerhead was going to bring it, but it's just too many people. So we're going to get this, and it's another reason why I'm looking forward to the Redeemer later on in the year. Not a buy for me, just because it's kind of expensive, but you could get a ship, you know. Like things like this are a bit weird to me, like a ground assault pack at $645 for 2 tanks and a vehicle. You do save a little bit of money, but do you really need 2 tanks? Can't drive 2 at once.
It'll carry 2 tanks. It'll carry 3 tanks. It'll carry 6 tanks if you park them sideways.
I think that's got a lot to come down to the road to once the weight system comes in. I don't think you'll be able to carry 3 tanks.
Oh, I see. The weight
I think the weight system will change it drastically. Like you can physically fit 3 in there, but I don't think you'll get off the ground.
Feel like the Gemini and the difference of Gemini and the Idris M and even the Hercules, the way in which they're said they carry less cargo if they're up armored.
That's a really good example, actually, because I was talking to Starlette, I think 2 days ago about that. She said it's really unfair how the top level of cargo is just missing. And I said, yeah, but you've got to take the weight into account, because they're kind of artificially making it work at the moment, just saying you get less cargo. Well, you could physically put that cargo in there, but you just won't get off the ground. So in space, the M2 will take as much cargo as the C2. But if you ever want to come off planet or down to planet, that could have disastrous consequences.
So does that mean that some cargo weighs more than other cargo?
I think that will be true.
That is one of the things that has also been discussed in terms of what happens with the weight of a cargo. Why can't they just do it on what cargo weight? And maybe down the track that will be the case. But yeah, that's one of the things that has always come up. People complain about why this ship has the same cargo space, but it's limited. They're saying it carries less cargo, or it carries less cargo, and the real reason is just that down the track, the flight models are going to be impacted by weight, and the extra components you've got on your ship, that's going to add weight. That's going to put more stress on the engines, and so you'll carry less cargo just so you can get off the ground, even though you've got the space for it.
Makes sense. If you're on a high gravity planet, that makes a lot of sense.
Let's move on to the CCUs, and I think we'll go through the CCUs because there's a couple today. I remember you guys were talking about this before the show, so let's go through those and talk about. There's a really cool little CCU chain in there that I know SA was pointing out, and I kind of forgot it a little bit myself, so I'm going to let you guys guide me. Do you remember it specifically, Starlette? I remember there was 3 of them.
I remember what they are.
Well, better you than me.
We've got the Crusader Ares Inferno.
Yep.
And that one is what, a $20 discount.
Yep.
So if you buy a well, let's have a look. Hold on. Inferno War Bond, all chips. And what can we go from?
Yeah.
So you can go from, sorry.
So yeah, there's a $20 War Bond edition for Invictus that reduces the Ares by $20. The other version is the C2 Hercules, which is a reduction of $40, which takes it back to the original price. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's the same thing for the M2 and reduces it by $40.
It does. It
And
does. Yeah. And it's also going to fit the Tonk as well.
Yeah. So if you add those together, that's 20, 40, 40. That's $100. And then the Tonk is another 20.
Tonk one, I think, was $15 or $20. So it's about $115, $120 saving you could make if you wanted all of those ships.
Yeah. So if you combine that with the Polaris one that was earlier on this week, you're starting to get quite a cheap Polaris there if you do the math. You've also got the Gladys that you had to go through the other day, and I believe the other one that we haven't talked about that they rolled over was the Harbinger. That one was, and that might interfere a little bit with the Ares, but I'd have to. No, actually, no, it'd be above it. It'd be above it. You'd be safe, I think. So yeah, you could chain those all together.
And there's a lot of people with BMMs out there too, and the BMM's just gone up in price. So the M2 is a great CCU after that to add to a chain.
And now this is where Algared would normally step in and say it's also the C2 is the loaner for the Banner Merchantman now. So if you want to fly that,
there you go.
I
wasn't aware of that new upgrade, so there you go.
Now, I'm just going to say this very quickly because I am going to do a full episode on this very shortly, like literally after this one. This is going to be one of the last times you can actually purchase the A2. And if you want to know why I'm bringing that up, you'll have to watch the extra episode that we're going to do, and that'll probably come out tomorrow for you guys. But we're looking into some military ships that with our military guys that have just brought some stuff to our attention that we just did not think of. Yes, this ship is very expensive. Yes, I wouldn't recommend it for everyone. But if you are a military person, you might want to watch the episode because there's a few things that are coming in that one.
I'm really excited for the A2. It's going to be cool.
I often think a lot of the ships that the expensive ships, you've really got to look. Is this the ship that's right for me? Any ship you're looking at that's over, a couple of $100 is super expensive, and some of the ships just don't work for people, individuals. They either need too many. Like you were saying with the Hammerhead. The Hammerhead, the idea of it, really great ship, but the fact that you really need more than a couple of people to make it really effective reduces that ability to get you and a couple of mates.
Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong. A lot of those military ships are still niche.
Yeah.
But the power of some of them, I did not calculate.
Yeah.
And I think so let's just say the military ships in some cases are niche. Some of them though are still more powerful than the others, and that's kind of what we're going to be looking into in that episode shortly. Okay, so let's go back and look at recommendations. Just for Crusader, because we're going to move on to Tumbril as well. Is there any ships here that you guys would recommend that people consider?
Well, I mean, if you're into value, then obviously the Caterpillar is the best trader you're going to get in the near future. But if you're into maximizing cargo, the C2 is the ship to do it until the BMM comes out, and we don't know how much cargo space the BMM will have yet.
Yeah, I still can't look at the M2 and the A2 and see how the value comes in those ships. Like there's like $120 difference between the C2 and the M2. For me, it would be buy the C2 and earn the M2 with the C2. That's just the way my brain works. I think they're a little bit overpriced for what they are.
Totally agree. But
I've got to agree. Like if you're looking at real value, real world cash value, it really is hard to say, hey, this is a C2, it does this. This is an M2, it carries less cargo, it's got more guns. For that extra money, it just doesn't. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Feel right.
It's kind of like when you talk about the reclaimer and the modules type of thing.
if you can do some CCU chains and get it a bit cheaper.
True.
There is one point to the M2 which doesn't come up often. It's pretty simple. If it's your main earning vessel in game, the C2 has a very, very slow quantum drive by default, and the M2 has quite a fast one. So you could get a bit of a head start in your cargo running if that's your only cargo ship.
I know a little blue pig that got this for about $205 US. I'll leave it at that. So you guys will know who I'm talking about, but some other people might not know who I'm talking about.
And that's really the thing I think to look at when you're looking at those big ships and these different ships. If you can CCU to them significantly cheaper, then even ships we'd normally say don't get can be ships that are really worth getting. You know, one that's come up on RSI Day was the Perseus. If you can get that really cheap, it becomes a really good ship. But at the price point, a lot of them really are ships you struggle with.
So I can't recommend the Ares here because this, before it was released, was the same price, and I just don't see these ships equaling the same as the Mercury Star-Runner. So again, on a bang for buck basis and it being a fighter, I can't recommend either. Do you guys agree with that, or?
They're very different roles, aren't they? I mean,
Yeah.
if you're data running, you're data running. If you're shooting large and capital ships, then you're shooting large and capital ships.
I don't think the Ares really is the anti-capital ship. It's your A10. It's your ground support vehicle. It's a tank buster. It's not an Idris killer.
Interesting.
And the marketing that built it as a David versus Goliath is BS.
I can see this sniping a tank, but I can't see it sniping an Idris.
It's going to have good range though, right? So it's going to be able to get hammerheads where the hammerhead size 4s can't get it in range. It's going to be able to get Perseuses by moving away from the turret tracking.
But again,
with the
they're large ships. They're not capital ships.
Yeah.
Skins. Now, Algared did point out something here. The ones that cost more money are probably going to be the rarer ones. And the ones that are like $11, they're going to probably be every day available. But clearly, this is the best looking one by a country mile, the Cerberus.
It looks nice, yeah.
It does look very nice.
This it needs a little bit more crisper. Yeah, I know. I can see SA loving this. He's a big fan of the orange, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, for me, it's the Cerberus. All right, so this is taking a little longer than I expected, so we'll probably speed this up. That's fine. For me, a lot of these are passes, except for the Gemini.
Yeah, the Gemini is a great CCU marker. So there's a bunch of ships you can CCU from. There's a bunch of ships you can sort of lock it at that price.
Crucible, Endeavor,
so
Reclaimers.
You get your $10 Endeavors, your $10 Crucibles, save those in your hangar for later. All from the Gemini.
And also the Gemini, I don't think is always readily available because it's that military ship. I could be wrong.
It's only available once every 6 months. Same thing here with the MISC. I know a lot of this is very meta at the moment. And if you're really into that meta, pick one up, but you just have your exit strategy for long game because again, it's just not going to be worth holding on to and maximizing its value. I think most of these ships would fall into that except the Gemini.
Yeah. And the Gemini, I think, is actually the better of the two Starfarers, in my opinion. I like the fact that it is up-armored. I like the fact that it does have heavier weapons. So instead of size 2 guns at the back, it's got size 3s. Instead of size 3s on the top, it's got size 4s, I think. It just is a nicer ship. It's got missile rack in front as default instead of a fuel scoop, but you can also change that out. So, yeah, I think it's a better option.
They've also stated that it also does come with the refineries and that in like your kit, so you can actually put it back into the ship and basically turn it back into the original Gemini. Where the one in game is actually cheaper because it doesn't come with the refineries. So yeah. All right. Any paints there? Really, it's the standard affair. I don't think there's really anything there. Most of these are still everyday available already. Like I know most of these Starfarer and freelance ones are. So going back up to Tumbril. For me, again, being all vehicles, they're pretty much a hard pass for me. I do know some of the military guys are a big fan of this Ranger, and they're really, really looking forward to it. So we might talk about it more in that episode. I don't know about skins for you guys, but for me, the clear winner is this silver one for the tank.
Gunmetal.
It just looks sick, and obviously being more expensive, it's going to be the rarer one. The autumn one does kind of look cool, but I think it's going to be available every day of the week.
I like the Timberline one as well.
Timberline, yeah, that's not bad.
The nice standard green. Yep.
And I think all the ones for the Cyclone, I can
Uh,
take them or leave them.
I've got to admit that one of the things I dislike about all the paints that they bring out is that when they do their upgrade to their big packs, which have those in, they'll use every paint to inflate the plot price. So even if you don't want them, they'll be in those packs and they'll inflate the price. It's sickening.
Did you see the price of all the Hercules ones together was $50? I'm like, that's pretty nuts. That's like,
And
you can only wear one at a time, so like, just buy the one.
I think that's the key for the sale. There's that giant big pack of all the Hercules with all the paints and all the extras. But actually, if you go through the CTU chain process, you can save so much money and get the same stuff today.
Yeah.
Just not in the pack.
And the problem is that those big packs that have everything in it, you're really you might be having a saving on the ships in terms of what they are, but CIG are making up for it because they're also billing in the paints in that saving or tacking the paints on to inflate the value, and that
you're essentially paying $150 more because you didn't do your homework. You know, for no reasons. Oh, and yeah, you just buy the one skin that you want. You don't need all those skins.
Yep. the advantage of getting packs though is just that. You know, avoid the hassle and the rush. It's just convenience.
Now, before we log off today, Starlette, you've been working on this little project that I'd like you to share with everyone. Not to throw you under the bus, but can you tell us about your little website you've been working on?
Yeah, totally not ready. Totally not finished.
But tell us, just tell everyone where you're going with it, and what the plan will be, and how it'll help a lot of people.
Sure. I've got a hangar. It's full of Warbond CCUs. I love the meta game of collecting them and trying to get better priced chips and get more value for my money. But it's out of control, and I needed something to get it organized. So I've been building a website to manage your CCUs and calculate CCU chains for you. So you give it what you've got in your buybacks, what you've got in your hangar, and the way in terms of upgrades, in terms of ships, and it will work out the paths you can take to get the best discounts.
That sounds amazing. So it's basically you've replaced me in Algared with a piece of software. I can retire happy now.
Which case we hate you.
We've been superseded. But really, I can see that helping lots and lots of people, and I think it will be really great. And I think the only other functionality I can think of is telling you if you're missing a CCU and recommending past prices of them or something like that. So you can say, well, this was once for sale for this price and this is the cheapest you could get it, but it's regularly available at this price. And then maybe even a link out to Mr. Fat so you could fill in gaps from the grey market. But that's like all future stuff. But like I can see the potential of this is fantastic, and it made me really excited when I saw it today.
Yeah. It's going to be good, and it's going to get my hangar in order. I can't wait to get it finished, and if it helps other people, that makes me happy.
Yeah,
well, I think anything that helps you get the best bang for buck is a bonus.
Yeah.
And CCUs really are the best way to get bang for buck and get those big ships or those ships you want cheaper.
So when you get it up and running, let Algared and myself know, and we'll get you a couple of 1,000 beta testers and send them your way. Give it a hard run. All right. We didn't do this at the start because I keep damn forgetting. I'm really bad today. So again, hashtag in the comments below for your chance to win an F7A upgrade. Let us know your thoughts on the CCU chaining today. Today's been one of the best days because you can get 3 in one day. Also, let us know what you let of Starlette. What are you calling your little piece of software?
Hangar.link.
Hangar.link. So, all right. So, so let us know about Starlette's Hangar.link, and if you're what you think of that, because I think that's going to streamline it and make it really good for a lot of people. And just your thoughts today again on some of the ships as well, because I know the C2 is not for everyone. It is definitely and it sounds like I've done a lot of hate on it recently, but my whole thing is there's just better options and more versatile options. But I still love flying it. It's a great ship to fly. I've had a lot of fun with it. So yeah. All right. Anything you want to add, Starlette or Algared, before we roll off?
No, just go buy some CCUs.
My
Right.
advice, as usual, like, subscribe, hit us up on Discord, hit us up in the channel. If you want to go the extra mile, support us on Patreon.
Definitely, if you need help with CCUs today, jump in the into the Discord. There'll be more than a few people there that would be willing to help you. All right.
Did we hashtag Jaden? Sorry.
Yes, we did hashtag
Yep.
Jen.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
It's all good.
Sorry.
She's been Starlette. He's been Execute. I've been He's been Algared. I've been Execute. See, I'm getting old. All right, and we'll catch you in the next one.
It's a worry.
I'm a worry. Don't you worry.
But you know, couldn't be anyone better.
Maybe.